All right, let's talk about something your body absolutely has to have to survive. But here's the catch. It can't make it on its own. We're diving into the world of vitamins, those essential and often invisible little pieces in the giant puzzle of our health. So let me just kick things off with a question for you. What are those absolutely critical ingredients that your body needs to build itself, to repair itself, and to power itself, but just can't manufacture? Well, you guessed it. The answer is vitamins. You can think of vitamins as these highly specialized tools in your body's toolkit. They're not the raw materials for building stuff, and they're not the fuel for energy. Nope. They are the essential little helpers that make sure all the important jobs actually get done. And the big catch? Your body can't make these tools. You have to get them from your food. Now, not all vitamins are created equal. In fact, they fall into two really big categories. And understanding this split is totally key to getting why you need what you need and what happens if you get too much or too little. Okay, so on one side, you've got your fat-soluble vitamins. That's A, D, E, and K. As the name suggests, they dissolve in fat, and your body can actually store them for later. But on the other side, you have the water-soluble vitamins, like the whole B vitamin family and vitamin C. They dissolve in water, which means your body can't really store them. It's a use-it-or-lose-it situation. This is so important because you can run out of the water-soluble ones pretty fast, but you can also build up potentially toxic levels of the fat-soluble ones. So let's zoom in on that fat-soluble group first. These guys are heavy hitters playing crucial roles in everything from the way you see the world to how your hormones work. We're going to start with vitamin A. You know that feeling when you walk into a dark movie theater and for a minute you can't see a thing? Well, that whole process of your eyes slowly adjusting, that's vitamin A hard at work. It is absolutely essential for your vision in dim light. So how in the world does it do that? Well, deep inside your eye, there's a special form of vitamin A that physically changes its shape the very instant a photon of light hits it. That little shapeshift fires off a signal to your brain, and boom, you see. Then the molecule resets itself, getting ready for the next bit of light. It's like having millions and millions of tiny, rechargeable light sensors in your eyes. Pretty amazing, right?
So, what happens if you don't have enough vitamin A? Well, that whole recharging process we just talked about slows way, way down. It takes you much, much longer to adjust to the dark. This condition has a name. It's called night blindness, and it's one of the classic telltale signs of a vitamin A deficiency.
Okay, next up is another fat-soluble heavyweight, but this one's, well, it's a bit of an oddball. I'm talking about vitamin D, which a lot of scientists argue isn't really a vitamin at all. They say it's actually a hormone. Let's look at the evidence. Unlike pretty much every other vitamin, your body can make vitamin D. It happens when sunlight hits your skin. Then your kidneys activate it, and it travels to specific target organs, like your intestines and bones, to do its job, regulating calcium. And get this, just like a classic hormone, its own production is controlled by a feedback loop. So, what do you think? Vitamin or hormone? It's a fun debate. All right, let's switch gears to the water-soluble vitamins. The B vitamins in this group are kind of like the tireless ground crew for your body's energy production. They keep the whole complex operation running smoothly behind the scenes. The B complex isn't just one thing. It's a whole team of 8 different vitamins, and each one has a very specific job to do. But they all work together as what we call coenzymes. Just think of them as tiny little helpers that are absolutely essential for unlocking the energy that's stored in your food. Let's put a spotlight on one of them, thiamine, also known as vitamin B1. Imagine thiamine is the one specific key that unlocks the energy from carbohydrates. Without that key, a really crucial step in your body's energy production line just stops. It gets completely blocked. And when that energy assembly line gets blocked, the consequences are incredibly serious. Without enough thiamine, your body is basically starved for energy. This can lead to a severe and dangerous condition called wet beriberi, which causes the heart to fail and a massive, painful buildup of fluid in the body called edema. This severe swelling that you're seeing here, it's a direct result of the heart failing, and it all comes back to a lack of that one single vitamin. It's a really powerful reminder of just how critical these tiny little molecules truly are. But the B vitamins are not just solo acts. They also work together in some really fascinating ways. And a perfect example of this is the biochemical partnership between vitamin B12 and folate. It's something called the methyl trap hypothesis. Okay, stick with me here. For folate to become active and do its job, it needs to pass a tiny chemical group over to vitamin B12. It's like a baton pass in a relay race. But if there's not enough B12 around to catch the baton, the folate gets stuck. It gets trapped and becomes totally useless. So a B12 deficiency can actually cause a folate deficiency, even if you're eating plenty of it. It's just a perfect example of biochemical teamwork. And all of this brings us to what might be the most crucial point about every single vitamin: balance. It is not just about getting enough, it is all about getting the right amount. Because vitamins are so powerful, it's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking that more must be better. But that is absolutely not the case. You can for sure have too much of a good thing, especially with those fat-soluble vitamins that your body loves to store. Let's circle back to our friends vitamin A and D for a second. We know that too little vitamin A causes night blindness, but too much, that can cause hair loss and even liver damage. A lack of vitamin D can lead to soft bones, what we call rickets in children. But if you take way too much vitamin D, you can end up with painful kidney stones from a dangerous buildup of calcium in your blood. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that vitamins are incredibly powerful regulators in your body. Too little can cause serious problems, but too much can be just as dangerous. The goal isn't to get as much as you possibly can. The goal is to get the right amount. It is all about finding that sweet spot, that perfect balance. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. Now that you have a better idea of how these powerful, essential little tools work, it's worth asking yourself, are you giving your body the right tools it needs to get the job done?